completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. 888-659-3727 is a toll-free number. You are listening to and watching The Bald Truth, the hair loss show with me and Joe.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going, Joe?
Busy day, but good, productive. Lots of stuff going on.
Good. Busy is good. You always sound so down when it's busy, like you got to run around a lot. There's always a sigh of life.
Out of breath.
The sigh of life.
Just like, oi.
Oy. Oy vey.
Oi.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. This is when we do the live show every Friday on Joe Tillman's The Hair Transplant channel. And all the other places where people are actually listening to the broadcast. So call us. We are live, 888-659-3727. We talk about hair loss. That's what we do. That's all we've been doing. That's all I've been doing for over 2 decades. I'm kind of tired of it, but I'm going to keep doing it. Because I know that there are people out there that need our help. And how do I know that? Because so many people come to me every week through the American Hair Loss Association or through the Bald Truth and even through the IAHRS who've been ripped off. They think they're disfigured. They're looking for repair surgery. They spent all their money on bullshit products and services, and now they want to, they're trying to get some help. People still requesting somehow, like the American Hair Loss Association is supposed to get people refunds for buying snake oil products. I had this one letter that was it was an email like 3 pages long. That's not what we do. But the point is, we're here to help you to better inform yourselves before you make decisions that can really adversely affect your lives. That's what we do. Joe Tillman is the original hair transplant mentor. I say the original. Joe Tillman is the hair transplant mentor. Guy's had 10 hair transplants. Guy's been in the trenches for quite a long time in this field. Both Joe and I know where all the bodies are buried, and that sounds like, almost like a cliche term at this point. But let me tell you guys, in this field, man, oh man, Shevitz.
It's almost literal.
Yeah, it is bad. It is bad. There's no exaggeration. I know there are guys out there, even doctors who we work with, who cringe when I say this. I think less cringe now because they understand, how we operate and the importance of being honest and telling the truth. But it is a dirty, ridiculous, repugnant industry for the most part. Now, what's interesting about this field is there's like a handful of people in it who really give a shit, who are helping people either surgically or, helping guide them, dermatologically, using medical treatments, really providing sound advice, providing rock-solid products and treatments that at least have the potential to help you. But given the enormity of the field, it's a very small sliver of a percentage of people who are actually out there doing the right thing. You go through your Instagram feeds, you go through Facebook feeds, all your social media feeds. Anywhere you absorb. Anywhere you get your content from. Jesus, Joe. I gotta stop smoking that reefer. But this thing on?
Who calls it reefer?
Nobody. I haven't heard that since like 1972. But and this was from a Dominican kid up in the Bronx. It's a mess out there. That's all I have to say. It's a mess out there.
Mr. Rolandis in the chat room says the industry sucks. The more you learn, the more disgusting it gets. Truer words have never been spoken. It is, like Spencer's talking about it. We know where the bodies are buried. It's a really messed up industry. But you guys have no idea what we're talking about. Like we can sit here day in, day out, every Friday talking about this stuff, but the depth that this goes as far as who's doing what and doing it badly and covering it up, and the methods that they use just to get you in the door. When you say that it's like a used car salesman environment, not to knock on used car salesmen, but that's actually true, because a lot of these places have, like, you look at the chains, like the larger chain clinics. What medical facility has a sales meeting every week? Like that alone should tell people.
Yeah.
Like you go in and one of the questions you should ask is, do you have sales meetings? If they say yes, get the hell up and leave. Like having company meetings every week, I encourage that with clinics I work with. But that's to review what the hell you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and to find areas you can improve. But if you're having meetings where you're talking about quotas, that takes the entire reason of medicine out of the equation.
So who's going to
not helping people?
So we're going to be able to get a hair transplant now.
Oh, lots of places.
Let me tell you something.
Like seriously, like
they may not talk about quotas, but there's not a practice in medicine today that doesn't have some sort of, and I don't mean to be a contrarian, but it doesn't have some sort of a sales meeting in their office. They're in the business to make money. Whether you're a dermatologist, a fucking urologist, they are sitting there like, where are my patients?
Well, that's different. Like when you're talking about how, getting people in the door, like how can we market? Like, that's a different thing than actually having a sales meeting where you're pressuring your salespeople to meet a quota. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And where they dictate, where the actual sales team dictates the direction of the clinic, who comes in and who doesn't, and the doctor's just there to do the surgery that the salespeople dictate. Like it happens a lot, especially with a lot of these places that you mentioned that we find on Instagram or we find on TikTok or we find on Facebook. The doctor really has nothing to do with it. They come in, they do their surgery, and they leave.
Right.
They're on contract. And the consumer, the patient, just isn't aware.
So I have a question, and maybe I'm naive after 24 years of trying to get the word out there and doing what I do, but
you naive.
what is it? I understand the drive and the human drive to try to fix yourself if something's going wrong and you're really unhappy with it, to try to get that fixed. But what is it about this particular field that makes people lose their fucking minds, ignore every red possible flag that they see, and kind of put reality out the window and just say, well, you know what? I know it's surgery and all. I know they're going to cut my head open, basically, and they're going to move live organs from one part of my scalp to the other part of my scalp. But maybe I can get a deal. Like, what is it about this particular surgery that makes people so fucking stupid?
You just nailed it. They don't think of it as a surgery.
Yeah.
Because it's marketed as a procedure, not a surgery. Like, how many clinics can you name on one hand that actually educate up front and saying, hold on, you got to understand this is actually a surgical procedure. It's not lip injections. No one.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to be honest, no one really does that. Like, they'll have their education program, like, you need to understand what you get, and that's fine. But no one just kind of puts the brakes on and throws that barrier up every single time. It just doesn't happen. But I think that the reason why so many people, take aside the part that they're not grasping the surgical reality of this, they're desperate. The three components of this: they're desperate. They're being presented with an option that satisfies that desperation, that alleviates the issue, and it takes a year to see the final result, and it's easy to put people off en masse for months at a time. Final result, give it a year and a half, or the term that was, or the phrase that was really being thrown around quite a bit up until recently. Oh, final results not till 18 months.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So all that makes sense. What about the idiots that go out and do a testimonial for a doctor the day of surgery? And I'm sorry, all of you guys who've done that, but I want you to really think about this. There are people out there that are going on YouTube, going on these platforms, and they're trying to get advice. They want, they're dealing with exactly what you're dealing with. And you're telling them, this was great. I would do it again. You don't know what the fuck what you're gonna look like in a year.
Yeah.
What about these guys?
Standing like a bunch of idiots, thumbs upping with the doctor
after surgery,
or the lead tech.
Yeah.
With 3,000 dead grafts in their head.
They gave me. I love the reviews when they talk about what a great lunch they fucking had.
Yeah. Yeah. They're quite accommodating from the moment that I arrived. No shit. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. I got a great lunch, foot rub. They gave me a free hat at the end of the $20,000 session surgery.
I remember there was someone actually on a recent video presentation where this narrator was talking about the industry, and they mentioned this one clinic in Turkey. So I looked them up, and there's some videos on the website or maybe on YouTube, and it had a bunch of patients coming in. It was being documented, like a camera following these patients around, and I think they're from the UK. And they had these women that worked for the clinic. They looked like a bunch of hookers.
Yeah,
like they're wearing string top. Yeah. Like dress. It looks like they're about to go out on the town, and they're assigned to the patient as translators.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Wait, where are they? Are they at a nightclub or something? And it's like 2:00 in the afternoon or something.
Yeah. This is what it is.
Of course, you're being treated well.
This is what it is, and I put it out there partially tongue in cheek. But honestly, just as a human being, it's hard for me to understand how you can give somebody a video testimonial of something you have no clue how it went down. You really don't. You're half-assed groggy anyway. You don't know what they're putting into your head. You have no clue how it's going to grow.
Yep.
Some doctor asked me to do that, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. I just paid you $20,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Take that $20,000 I just paid you, and hire yourself a marketing company.
And I just recorded the entire surgery.
Nice.
So Sylvia likes to talk about her nightlife a lot. Just saying. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. I try not to even sound frustrated anymore because it's just part of the game. This is the industry. And honestly, when I think about it and about my career over these last couple of decades, I gave it my best shot,
your best shot.
I gave it my best shot. All I can do is continue to do what I do for as long as I can, and hopefully the guys that find us and the women that find us, we're able to help them. But I can tell you this, these doctors are not coming together like we've been trying to get done for the last 2 or 3 years. We have IHS members and guys who work with you who are IHS members who are on board. They're on board with our message. They're all cool with that. Mm-hmm. But as far as a really strong group of, say, 200 guys, which would cover a large portion of the market, it really would. They're afraid. They're afraid to buck the status quo. All they want to do is put their head down and hope that they continue to get patients.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to share patients. It's a weird fucking thing. They're closing themselves off. They're boxing themselves in to the point where they're going to be either out of business or all they're going to do is compete with the really bad guys. And what's going to happen is all the patients more patients just get fucked up every month. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the Bloomberg short documentary that Specs was in.
Yes. Yep,
and
I did. It was good.
Yeah, it was really good. They had that guy. What's his name? It's that guy Williams from the UK. Is his name Williams?
Greg Williams. Yeah.
I always forget
president
that guy.
of the British Hair Association.
I always forget. How did he become the president of that whatever it is society?
Well, there's 5 people in it, so they rotate.
Look, I am not here to make fun of a
Just kidding.
society.
I was just joking.
This is what's interesting. I've been doing this. I've been in this field for 25 years, 26 years and I basically just heard of him a few years ago.
Dear Joe, we don't appreciate you saying that there's only 5 members. Anyway, yeah.
How long has he been doing hair?
About 5 years. Well, I think about 10 years at least. Could be maybe longer. Because he joined the clinic where he is now, and he
not enough.
Became some sort of I don't know, some sort of trainee at the time.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. He could have been there 20 years for all I know.
I have no idea.
But he's he gets referenced a bit in the UK press for hair related issues. Good for him.
No, listen, I think it's great. I think some of his messaging is really good. I think he was really good on the Bloomberg documentary. I think some of the other
those glasses.
Yeah, they are cool actually. He's got pretty good hair. I don't dig some of the basic messaging, some of the stuff that I've seen him state in some of the press about the reality of what's happening in Turkey. It isn't, in my view, always accurate as far as just worrying about the price of clinics, cheap clinics. You can go to Turkey and get a great hair transplant. I mean, you may only have about 7 or 8 clinics that can produce that great hair transplant, but it's still going to be cheaper to go to Turkey for that good hair transplant than it is to stay in the UK, even in the more expensive clinics in Turkey. So just to base it on so just to base it on price, I think is a bad idea. Anyway, guys, our phone lines are open. We're going to take some calls. If you don't call in, we're going to go. So it's 888-659-3727. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say I'm not completely against that because I haven't eaten today. I'm starving. I got stuff to do.
Why don't you go and get a cupcake?
But I wish I could. There's no bakery nearby.
You don't have anything in your refrigerator? Your fancy house?
Nothing I can warm up. We're out.
Why does this shit got to be warm? You don't have a yogurt?
It's plain yogurt, yo.
Jesus. Unbelievable.
Nothing to eat. Nothing.
All right, let's take a call.
Nothing.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. It's Mike in New York. How are you?
Mike, good, man. How are you?
Hello, Mike.
Hey, good.
Nice to hear from you.
How's everything going? Yeah, thanks. I like the cameras. I think you guys, the camera's really sharp on this show. I like it.
Oh, thanks a lot. Apparently, Joe's is sharper than mine, according to Mr. Orlandis, who can go fuck himself. I'm just kidding, Mr. Orlandis. We love you.
Speaking of him, what you guys were talking about, he put up a video where, as far as this industry being messed up, that they used his video in some wacky promotion for a derma roller or something. It was just wild. And he gave no permission whatsoever.
Dude, we have to send out.
Welcome to the club.
We have to send out at least, this is no exaggeration, maybe 7 or 8 cease and desists, either for the illegal use of our trademarks, of the American Hair Loss Association or the IHRS, every year. Mm-hmm. And that's just in the U.S. Sometimes I don't even bother, when we're dealing with Saudi Arabia or some of these other places. It's just oh, geez, okay, they're giving me free promotion. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
But, I mean, this industry is just full of thieves, and you know who they blame? webmasters. Apparently, hair transplant surgeons hire the most, fucked up webmasters with no
dumbest
scruples.
Webmasters on the planet.
The most unscrupulous webmasters on the planet because they constantly steal people's trademarks.
Yeah, and images.
Yeah.
And videos.
Yeah. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so I booked a hair transplant. Just want to let you guys know that.
Wow. Okay.
And
Dr. Doran, right?
No, not him. I just went to him for more of a consultation. Affording him would be like a pipe dream, even though I would love to go to him. But he was a great guy and gave a great consultation. But I'm going somewhere in Europe. I'd rather not just mention the name right now.
Okay, you don't have to mention anybody.
Why not?
There you go. Joe's always starting trouble.
Just for my own, I don't know, just not comfortable yet, if that is okay.
Dude.
It's not. Absolutely not. Call back when you want to talk about it.
You're anonymous. It's okay. Joe can't get you through the phone. Don't worry.
It's a good thing I listened to you guys long enough because I know that you're screwing with me. But in due time. But as you know, I have a little bit of paranoia about things. So, but in any event, it's a big step for me, and I obviously wish I was in a better position going into it. But I'm not on Finasteride, which is is a huge thing, and I had many long talks and discussions with this doctor about that, and we were going to proceed in a really conservative route. But it's still just nervous, obviously, because with donor hair in general, like I know for a fact, looking back 10 years, like my back and sides, for example, have gotten weaker, which is like normal, and I guess I hope that they would, in theory, hang on in some sort of presentable route for many years to come. I guess that's the risk I have to take. But the thing now is I've been on oral minoxidil for 2 weeks. I finally started that 2 weeks ago. Not that I don't, I'm not super comfortable taking that long term, but I'm just going to see where it takes me.
How old are you now, Mike?
Okay, so let me go ahead.
37.
Okay. Sadly, eventually you're going to have to take all kinds of medications long term, man. And it's a decision that you're going to have to make as I'm learning, as I'm getting older. So, it is what it is. This is something that really severely affects your life, obviously. We've tried to talk you out of a transplant for a long time. You've made the decision to have the transplant. You could suffer all the way through it, or you can do your best, I know it's hard, to not worry before you have to worry.
Right.
So let me ask you this, Mike. When is your surgery scheduled?
It's scheduled for May of 2022, so I have enough time to, get comfortable. Maybe the oral minoxidil will kind of give me a boost, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. I was asking because if you had booked it for like November next month or something, then my question would be, well, why? Okay, so why are you starting, introducing another variable into the mix only a month before? But you're not till May next year, so the question's moved.
Yeah. I'm actually happy about that, to be honest. It's fine because
now is it May 2022 because they're so booked out, or that's just convenient for you?
No, they're just so booked out. Correct. And it's interesting. It's pretty bizarre in this case because I'm looking at it like if oral minoxidil works, that's great. But if it doesn't, then okay, then I'll like lose more hair and like be more. Because my thing is I want to get the most bang if I can in this one surgery. So if for whatever reason it doesn't help the medication, then we could somehow go for a little bit more grafts and get as much as I can. It's that kind of thing. Not being on Finasteride is just very. It could be tricky. Again, in my case, at least, with I have more progressed advanced hair loss.
We always talk about the virtues of Finasteride, and we also talk about the side effects. But even being on Finasteride, you don't know. It's just an extra,
That's true.
Extra piece of armor when you're going in that can possibly save you from complete disaster. When it comes to this. So, sorry to laugh at that, Joe. But I just sometimes I think to myself, how many times we've told this story to people, and I don't know, man. And Mike, this has nothing to do with you. I'm just thinking about my career. I've been thinking a lot about my career these last couple of days, actually about this last week. And I'm not dying, people. Don't worry, I'm fine. But you know, you can't. There's no exact. If we were able to say, you know what, all you have to do is this, this, and this, and you're going to be fine, then our lives would be a lot easier, and so would yours. And people call us for reassurance all the time. We try to give as much reassurance as possible, but eventually, people just have to either just man up and say, I've made my decision. I'm going for this. I've done everything that I possibly can. I've done all my research. And now it's just, you know, it's with God at this point.
I just wanted to also ask one last question to both of you, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
That one of my things I realized over the last few years of research is that, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like, correct me if you think I'm wrong, because you would know better than me, but doctors, surgeons in Europe, Turkey especially, as opposed to the United States, it seems like there's always more of a bigger quote for graphs, and they go for more. Whereas in the United States, especially in the better top clinics, for example, Dr. Doran, it's always much more conservative graphs, and you see these good results, like with this lower number. Now, is that because they just have perfected it as far as getting that like illusion better as with the lower number, as opposed to doctors, for example, in Turkey that just, we're just going to go for 4,000 graphs, and because we know that's going to be better chance of a better image and a better result. So what do you think of that? Because that's something I was thinking about.
Well, as Bob Bernstein would say, it's not about being conservative, it's about being appropriate. And these doctors who have been around for a long time here in the States, who have been doing this for forever or elsewhere in the world, they've learned from their mistakes and their colleagues' mistakes. And they also know what they can produce in their practice, in their hands, within their comfort level. And making, their bottom line is keeping patients happy. And it's, they can create the volume by having more happy patients and moving less hair with each patient, as opposed to just moving as much hair as possible. It's kind of like a contract. You see these big contracts anytime you have to sign anything. Everything that's in that fucking contract is because it's in there because it happened at one point. Mm-hmm. Someone got fucked up somehow by something. So the guys that seem more conservative, they've learned over the years that, you know what? This is probably the best way to be. We have the most consistent positive results by operating in this fashion. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was going to say there are clinics that have larger estimates than other clinics, and I got a lot of experience in this particular subject because for many years, I worked for a clinic that was arguably doing the single, or not the single, but they were doing the largest cases of FUT surgeries in the world, day by day, bar none. Like occasionally some other clinic would come out and say, hey, we did X number of grafts, and people are like, wow, that's great, but it was never a consistent issue where, I was used to dealing with 4,500 grafts for a lot of patients. Like it was almost daily that size surgery would be performed, and usually it turned out really good. And then I would get these questions. Well, how come everyone else is quoting so much less? Well, it's because that's what they're comfortable working with. Today's different, kind of, where you're not really dealing with FUT as the dominant surgery, it's FUE. But the same principle kind of applies where if a clinic is comfortable with a larger number of extractions than most other clinics, that's their thing, that's their shtick, and you just got to look at their gallery to see if they have a lot of other results that where you're looking at the before image, you might think to yourself, well, this looks like something that this other clinic was quoting 2,500 grafts. These guys did 4,500 grafts, but then you look at the difference in the results. That's where it comes down. That's what it comes down to. The clinic you're dealing with may have a bigger estimate for you than everyone else that you talk to, but there's usually a reason for that. Like, if it's a good clinic, then there's usually good reasons because that's what they're used to. And there's pros and cons of doing bigger surgeries. One of the pros that clinics will tell you is that obviously you don't have to go in for a second surgery, but it usually also means that there's there's a stronger sense of donor management and less scarring, less potential for issues if you do it in fewer surgeries. And that makes sense. But then the flip side of the coin is, yeah, but if you throw so many grafts at the problem at one time and it doesn't work out, you just shit the bed.
Correct. Right.
Where are you going? Yeah. So there are valid points on both sides. I'm kind of in the middle now. Like I used to be a big believer in going for broke. It's like, you know what? Go for as many grafts as you can in one surgery. Talking about FUT, because you'll never tap out in one surgery. Unless it's just way too tight and you get a wide donor scar and you got to spend the next 3 surgeries trying to fix that donor scar. But if everything's done right and you get the maximum that's safely allowable based on a patient's physiology, you still have 2-3 surgeries left that are considerably smaller but are available for touch-ups and addressing other areas and things like that. With FUE, you can tap out that donor region in one day and there's no going back. And it comes from poor donor management, not understanding the donor region, using a punch that's way too big, and extractions that are too close together. Like there's so many ways to fuck up the donor region with FUE. There is with FUT. It's almost mind-boggling. But you pick a good clinic, they're consistent, not just photos but video, and they've been around for a long time. Use your gut. But ultimately, the graft discrepancy is probably something that they're used to, and they just do it that way, and they got a lot of success with it, and that's what obviously led you to them to begin with, is the results.
My thing is, if you recall, I have some retrograde, so it's kind of cut my capacity in half. So it's just super conservative. We actually are going to try and go with a lower number. Ultimately, there's no definite number yet, but there's like a ballpark. But so that's I really can't play around in that area well, where it's like, okay, go for 3,000, even though my capacity is not that much more, about 4,500. Dr. Doran said maximum. So it's one of those types of heads. I saw you did a video on once, a guy with the retrograde.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that different clinics will have a different way of estimating the donor region as well. And you got some clinics that are more, we'll say, used to evaluating a donor in a certain way, whereas you got other clinics that have taken a different approach that might present a larger total number of grafts for you as being available over X number of procedures. So, one clinic says your total donor supply is 4,500. Another clinic may say it's 6,500. Just, is it their specialty? Is it something that they really identify with as far as how to manage that donor?
Yeah, but they could say 6,500, and they could easily, then it could come back looking like shit. Because me, personally,
well, of course. Of course, but that's where you look at the track record. Like that's where you go back in and say, okay, so these other patients, like you have to assume that the same type of mindset is approaching the past patients that's approaching yours. Like a lot of this, I won't say a lot of it, but a healthy portion of this you do have to leave up to fate, based on the best research that you can do, with common sense thrown in, to make sure that you're not letting your emotions, your desires kind of overshadow your common sense, which is what everyone's at risk of falling for anyway, right? So
yeah,
donor management is key. And I assume you're going for FUE?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so donor management is key in this. And but look, I mean, you've been around for a while. You've done a lot of research, so feel good about your decision, but never stop questioning, like ever.
Of course, right.
Always question everything. Don't forget it.
I've been all over the place as far as that goes. So I got a lot of knowledge. So I thank you guys for a lot of that too. So thank you. Thanks for the call too. I appreciate it.
Mike, listen. Good luck, man.
Thanks for calling, man.
All right, let us know.
Thanks.
When's your surgery? You said November?
May.
May.
20. So
Okay.
I got a while. So I'll keep you guys posted on the old minoxidil progress.
man.
I'll let you know how that works out.
Yeah, let us know. All right.
Take care, guys.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. 888-659-3727. What was that?
Huh?
I thought you were going to say something. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hello?
Oh?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know I was on. Hey, thank you for taking my phone call. My name is Whitney Ross. I'm in Texas.
Hey, Whitney Ross from Texas.
Whitney. Hello. You know, I keep on going back and forth with my anxiety. I've gone in, actually, at this point, I've had a third consultation with 3 doctors here in the Texas area. Last one being Dr. Rocha. And I don't know, it's just so hard to make on, boils down to making a decision. And I think I just, listening to you talk about the emotions, I'm sitting here reflecting, saying, like, I just made an emotional decision of deciding to schedule surgery for this month, and I'm just not sure, not uncertain about me wanting to get the surgery, but I guess on what surgeon actually does it. I don't know that.
Okay, and listen, it's certainly, the whole thing is anxiety provoking. Hair loss, dealing with considering having cosmetic surgery, especially for your hair. The whole thing's fucked up. So you're not alone. How old are you, first of all?
I'm 52.
You're 52. Okay,
Yeah.
you sound a lot younger, so that's good.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
you were.
I look like, yeah.
I thought you were in your 20s.
I'm always told I look. I'm always told I would look a lot younger too. I guess a benefit.
Let me. How do you wear your hair now? And how much hair loss do you have?
I have a thinning on the top and the crown, but more I'm concerned with the front area and the hairline. So I wear my hair kind of faded. I'm African American.
Okay.
And so I definitely I guess even what made me feel like I'm having a lot of anxiety right now because I made that call today, and I'm just thinking like,
here's the thing.
What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Look, you made it. It's a big decision. I'm not going to lie. You're going in. You're going to basically have your scalp cut open in a sense, even though it's FUE. You're going to have thousands of punctate wounds, grass removed from the back of your head, implanted into the front. You have to deal with anesthesia. You have to deal with the healing process. It's going to take about a year until you see the final result. During that year, you're going to go from the ugly duckling stage to the waiting stage. You know, you should be anxious. I mean, this is for real. But also know that there are many thousands of men out there, including Joe Tillman, who you're looking at, who've had very successful hair transplants that have changed their lives. The thing is, how badly do you need the hair transplant? Are you someone who, you said you're African American? Did you ever consider shaving your head?
No, and I don't know, being as there wouldn't be one. I don't think it'd be a good look on me, and I just don't think that would be something I would want to do.
It's not a good look on me either, and something I don't want to do. But you know, if you were able to try it, if you had time in your life to give it a shot and see if you can get used to it. There are guys who thought they would never look good with it, and then they give it a few months, and they're like, holy shit, my life is so much easier now.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I can reflect and say that I have done it before in some years back, first, being in the military and all that stuff. And I mean, again, I just didn't ever, once I was able to kind of get out of uniform, I definitely enjoyed having my hair a little longer, not extremely long, but just longer than what I used to actually having it cut. And it almost it seems like I'm in that place where if I like really had no hair in the top, and I mean, I don't even know what the Norwood, don't really know how to explain that, but
it's okay.
I can see that it would be probably like, oh yeah, just shave it. But I have a lot of hair. I mean, and then I have, And so the quote I've been getting as far as amongst the three doctors is about 1,500 to 2,000, which it sounds like a small amount of grafts, but I think I came across the day on post, and this is what triggered me. I seen this post on this one of the, I guess, the patient reps they have. I guess they post something on some results on a guy who had 1,500 grafts, and I was like, oh, man, it looks amazing, and his hair looks kind of similar to mine. And I'm thinking like, I just based that off of some pictures, and I'm just thinking like, ugh.
Well, here's the thing. Most people, you're not alone. Most people base it off of pictures. Most people are basing it off of images they see on social media now. That's how they're making the decisions. And we're here just to, not just scare you straight, but just tell you like it is. Look, you could be a guy who has incredible results, 1,500 grafts, looks just like the images that you saw online from the rep. Or you could be the guy who got fucked up. Now, if you've done your research and you know the entire scope and possible pitfalls of the surgery, and 3 doctors who are respected said that you make a good candidate, then there's a good chance you would make a good candidate. But there's just so much that, you still sound like you're relatively, like, how did you do your research?
And how long have you been doing research?
Yeah.
I've been doing research for like 3 years, and that's kind of about the time when I actually got on. I met with Dr. Rocha like three years ago. He came down to San Antonio, and I met with him. And I don't think I was like far gone. So I think he was saying like, "Oh, get on Finasteride." So I did that, and you probably heard a lot of people say, "I really wish I would have gotten on it even sooner," then, because you just don't really know unless somebody tells you. I just didn't really realize that's the way my hair is, but I got on that, been very religious with that, and that did stop everything. I mean, there's nothing else happened with my hair, but so I met with him like 3 years ago, and then I started like really, when you kind of began stuck in with the pandemic and all this, and looking, and I'm just thinking like, I don't like. I want to see if I can do something about this. So I went and met with. I drove to Dallas and went to see Dr. Yaker, and then I met with Dr. McGrath. And those are like the names that I'm kind of familiar with, or that I've looked up.
What did Dr. Yaker offer you?
He was saying like 2,000 grafts, FUE. When I Dr. McGrath, I first talked to one of the patient rep person that talks to you, and he was kind of initially leading me down the road of an FUT, and I was thinking like, and I said, I never really didn't want to do that because of where short I wear my hair and stuff. So he said, well, meet the doctor. And I literally drove less than an hour to go. I met with Dr. McGrath, and he the texture of my hair is a little bit more straighter, and he said that I would be a candidate for FUE. So that was kind of a relief. But then again, you get caught up in just reading all like some reviews, some people that might not like just something about him, and then I'm thinking like, should I really? Do I give all the weight to that?
Yeah, you can't. You can't. It'll drive you fucking crazy. I can't get a goddamn. I can't get a fucking blender anymore. I can't just go and buy something. I have to spend. That's me. 2 hours, reading reviews, and I just give up.
It makes me kind of a little sick, and then you want to go with somebody like Joe that I've been following for a long time, and say, ooh, he put that little stamp. And I know, and it's not to say the pressure is on you and the responsibility, but you posted this video with Dr. Yaker. And I'm like, oh, because I never heard him before. And that's they go to see him, and I'm thinking like, okay, what the hell? And
it just gets more confusing, man.
So what made you make your choice out of the 3 of them? What made you make your choice? You said you chose Dr. Rocha.
Yeah, I'm almost want to change my mind now. Okay, that happened.
No one's telling you to change your mind. We're just asking what
we didn't say anything. It's like, why?
Yeah, what made you make that decision? Yeah.
It happened. It happened yesterday, signed up for all these different things, and it happened yesterday when I seen post, like I said, from Dr. Rocha on it was 1,500 FUE on African American. It was just on the Hair Restoration Network. Okay, so I was like, okay, but then in that same forum, I had search on Dr. McGrath, who I was kind of leaning toward to, and mostly because he was close. I mean, in a sense, any of the three of them would work, but I was like, okay. But then, that was where I mentioned a guy who had a recent procedure with him, was just kind of questioning, he maybe didn't go back too far. And then also about the way he didn't use one of the different FUE, the newer ones. He uses like just his hand. He doesn't use one of the I'm talking about this
one of the machines.
On the machines and stuff. So I was thinking, like, there's the pros and cons of that.
Look, just so you know, you probably know this if you watch the show. Message forums the way message forums are run is that they're sponsored, and they're sponsored by the physicians who are posting in the message forums. I've run Bald Truth Talk a little differently. I mean, I have the IHRS, so obviously on Bald Truth Talk, it's IHRS physicians, so it's kind of a different situation. And frankly, I don't give a shit about the message forum. That thing can crash and burn tomorrow, and I wouldn't care about it because I think they're all so toxic. With that said, it's very difficult to make a truly informed decision based on the stuff you see on these forums, because you're going to see a lot of negative stuff, especially about people who are not sponsoring forums. That's going to be left up there. It's not going to be archived. That shit's going to be out there for public consumption. And there may be negative stuff about the people who are sponsoring forums, but somehow that is swept under the rug at times. Or it's kind of poo-pooed, and then all of a sudden it's archived, and it's there, but no one could see it. So tough to make a decision based off that. You did the right thing as far as meeting with the physicians. That's important. A lot of guys don't do that. So you have to go with your vibe and your gut, not what you read on some message forum or on Yelp. And you have to go with your own, if you read, 100 really bad Yelp reviews where people have died in the chair, you might want to stay away from that doctor.
But you probably won't stay away from that doctor,
Yeah. But that's unlikely.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Whitney, let me ask you this. So you say that you're thin on top. Does it look like, when you look at the mirror, does it look like you're losing your hair, or is it something that you got to dig for to actually find the weakness? Have other people commented that you're losing your hair? Like what degree of loss are we talking about?
Yeah, it looks like I'm losing my hair, definitely in the front. I mean, which is why I wasn't so concerned about the crown, because I've always just had naturally, my hair has always kind of just been thin. I mean, I'm using, I guess, a way of comparing it to other maybe African American guys who have like really thick, kinky hair. I've never had that. My hair has always been kind of a finer texture. But when I started losing my temples in the front and the hairline is gone, I mean, that's where, because I had the middle part was always kind of like that. I mean, I could see it in my, definitely see it through. But the front is kind of gone, and so that's kind of what's going on there.
He wants his hair back, Joe.
No, I get it. But originally he was talking about being thin, and I thought, well, maybe it's kind of a diffused issue. I was going to ask if he's ever tried Dermatch or Topic, because that would be ideal on a diffused thinner, an African American diffused thinner. But if it's a hairline recession where it's kind of just been obliterated and you just want to restore the hairline, then I understand that, and that's not something that a filler would do.
There's a really big trend on social media. You see a lot of black dudes getting like these really dope hair pieces applied. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, but it's insane what they're capable of doing now. Would that be something you'd ever consider?
No, to be honest. I mean, I'm going to say all my answers are going to be honest. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Then I would resort to just wearing a ball cap like I do now. I mean, and I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
Well, listen, I hear you. Here's the thing. If both Dr. Yaker and Dr. Arosha and whoever else you saw, McGrath, if they all think you're good candidates, there's probably a good chance that you are a good candidate. That's great. Dr. Yaker offered to do FUE, and Dr. McGrath said that you were a good candidate for FUE. That means you're probably a good candidate for FUE. So those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good signs. You're moving a relatively small amount of hair. The problem is when you're moving the hair on a black guy, depending on how short you wear your hair and how you scar, sometimes having these multiple couple of thousand punctate wounds in the back of your scalp can end up even looking like razor bumps on some black guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's and Asian guys too. But that's something that if you're a keloid scar, you have to be aware of that. These are all probably questions that you were asked. Those could be the possible downsides.
Yeah, like with black hair, I guess I wasn't trying to go to and didn't want anything really aggressive. I just wanted kind of what close to what I. That's the thing. I never really had one of those like really hard hairlines anyway. But what's gone now is gone. I mean, it's
and here's the advantage of being a black guy. If your hair has enough curl to it, then you're going to be able to get more coverage than if you're moving finer hair, or the illusion of more coverage. And also, there's less contrast between your skin and your hair, unless your hair is turning white.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, on a black guy, even when you're moving gray hair or white hair, it could still look pretty full.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of advantages. Plus, also, you're probably not going to grow it too long. So those are all the advantages of being black and having a hair transplant, especially from someone who does a lot of African Americans and who understands the intricacies and just the nuances with the different textures. And also when you're doing FUE, there could be possible splaying under the scalp that doctors and technicians and or whoever's helping to remove or dissect the grafts, they have to be aware of as well. So you want somebody who has a lot of experience with African American hair, or Afrocentric hair, I should say.
Yeah, and I've kind of been hitting them with those kind of questions because I knew about the curl and pulling out the grafts and stuff. But I got emails of like the post-op, or was it pre and post-op instructions, and this other part about the procedure itself. Something that just kind of came up. It was like, who's going to perform? Is this perform Dr. Rocha and or under Dr. Rocha? And I'm just thinking like, well, shouldn't I have a choice to decide who's going to do it, or because it kind of leaves it open.
Well, you should. You have a choice in most clinics, but only within the scope of what they offer. So if you when you pick a clinic and
pick a clinic,
you learn yeah exactly, and you learn in consultation how they do things, and you go ahead and you book a surgery. They're probably going to perform the surgery the way that they're used to performing the surgery. So if you start requesting things that maybe they don't do on a regular basis, like if they usually have a technician, a particular technician performing the extractions on an FUE surgery, but you ask for the doctor, you might actually be setting yourself up for maybe not such a great result compared to what you saw online or what you're thinking about, what you're hoping for, because the doctor doesn't do the FUE surgery as much as his technician.
Dude, some of these guys are all fucking thumbs. You want their technicians or their nurses to do the extractions or the dissection and extractions.
So when the wording says such surgery will be conducted by Dr. Arosha or under Dr. Arosha's supervision, that's just the difference of it. I didn't know, and I do know that the what do you call it, the extraction like Dr. McGrath, he has a team. He told me that he does the incisions, but there's technicians that do the extraction. I guess I just never really, as I'm thinking about it, really clarify. When I talked to him today, it was like, well, doctor, it doesn't matter.
Wait a second, did he sign the thing? Did he take the pledge?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm talking to Joe.
No.
I thought he did.
Listen.
I thought he did.
Listen, here's the thing. There are doctors.
I don't see him on your list.
No, they're not. They don't want to give a list of their techs or their nurses because they're afraid they're going to be poached also. This is a fucked up industry. Here's the thing. If you feel more comfortable with a physician performing the extraction, then you have to find somebody who does that day in and day out. Mm-hmm. That's it. There are doctors.
I'm not worried about that. Let me make sure I'm okay with that. I was just going to, when that wording that I read to you, I was thinking that could be like the extractions and the placement. Literally, it doesn't really specify. Like
yes, it can be. It could be anything.
He could be. I check in. I go in this room.
He could be on the. He could be on the fire escape having a cigarette while all the shit's going on. You don't know.
Exactly. That's all. I just. And maybe I just need to get that clarified, I guess.
Well, listen, I've known Dr. Rocha for a long time. He's good at what he does. He's a good doctor. I haven't worked with him for a while, but the last time I was, his staff was top notch. But you have to be 100% comfortable about everything. You should be able to sit there and talk to the doctor, not talk to a consultant about what's happening with the doctor. If you want to have another consultation with Dr. Rocha, have one. Say, listen, I want to talk to you about a few things. And then if you're pawned off onto a salesman, then that's a choice you have to make if you want to talk to that salesperson. I personally would, if I just signed on a dotted line and I had questions, I would expect the doctor to come to the table, sit down with me, virtually or whatever, and answer all my questions.
You're right, because he did not do that today, and that's the part where again, it was 3 years ago that I met Dr. Rocha. That was I called and my intention was to get a consultation. But he asked me, when were you wanting to get the disease? I said, well, I think I'm pretty made my decision, and I mentioned that I actually already had 2 consultations with 2 other doctors here, and I think that's what something happened where I just kind of got. Well, what date you looking? Can I get you in on the 14th? And I'm thinking like
the 14th of October.
Yes.
Dude, fucking take your time, man. I'm sorry. This is not. I don't want to divert business or tell someone not to have surgery.
Yeah.
But you need to take your time. You sound like you're not even close to being really ready emotionally. I mean, I'm just. I know you want it. I know you want to do it, but just the fact that you're calling us with such anxiety about it, if you're having
after your book,
if you're having any second thoughts, man, put the brakes on it.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know. And looking at, I know I probably can't convince you. I do. I'm pretty solid that I want to do it. I guess I'm just. There's no assurance, and I know I can't get that answer of the assurance of if I go with Dr. Yaker, okay, that I'll get this result, or if I go with Dr. McGrath, I know this, but it's just
first of all you have to go with your gut on the person. That's number one. If you can meet patients or see examples of their patients that have similar hair and skin characteristics of you, you need to do that. If you're spending too much time with the salesman, in my view, and less time and not enough time with the doctor for you to feel comfortable, that's a choice. You have to figure out if that makes sense to you. There's a lot of variables. For me, and I tell all the guys in the IHS, everyone I work with, I'm like, listen, I'm going to tell patients that for me personally, I want to spend more time speaking to the doctor than with the consultant. I think it's fine to get all the basics and then deal with the pricing with the consultant. But I would want a true medical assessment. And I would want him to be able to answer every possible surgical questions that I have. And I would want the doctor to, he or she to be able to answer who's going to be working on my head, not the salesperson.
Yeah, because the way I've been left feeling is that we'll decide which way to go on the day of, FUT or FUE. And I'm thinking like, I sent you pictures, and he said, sent some pictures, and I was thinking, I thought when he said, I thought he would say, can I FaceTime? He said, yeah, I thought it was going to be me talking to the doctor versus, me sending pictures, and then he comes back and says, okay, we will decide on that day. I don't like that, the idea of that.
So, and this is not to scold you. This is just to try to get into the psychology of all of this. So you didn't like that. All that made you feel uncomfortable, but you still booked. What was that about?
No, that's an issue that I deal with, and it was the after. I mean, in that moment, it's like that should have all happened at the same time. All those questions, like, they were there. I just didn't think about them. And
look, I'm going to tell you a story. I was 20.
Perfect storm.
I was 23 years old. I drove out I was living in New York City, where I was born and raised. I drove out to Cinnaminson, New Jersey, to an outfit that was sewing wigs into people's heads. Okay, this is the kind of shit they did back in the day, and it looked pretty good. And I met with a guy who had it done, and he must have recently had it done because he didn't seem like he had an infected scalp. And he's like, "Yeah, I sleep with this. It's great, And I'm thinking, and I did ask him, like, well, isn't there a chance for infection, or like, how do you change the hair, and how does it work? And they just made it like it became a party. Well, got home that night. Salesman called me up, and by the way, the salesman was wearing a white coat the entire time. Calls me up, and I'm a kid, and I've been, and I say this on the air all the time. I was fortunate enough to start working at a young age, so I had the money to do it. And at the time, it was like $2,700, which was a lot of money back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all right, let's do it. The next day, I had cold feet. I thought about it. I did my research, whichever research. What I couldn't do much research, but I was looking at all my brochures that I ordered and shit like that. And I called the guy up and I said, it just doesn't make sense. Let me ask you a couple of questions. And as I'm asking him questions, he's getting angrier and angrier with me because he knows that he lost that fucking sale. And as soon as I had the opportunity to get the questions answered, or at least ask the questions that I needed to ask to make my mind straight, my decision was made. I pulled out. And you know what? A month later, these guys were like on local New York news for destroying people's lives, infecting people's scalps. There was a big scandal. They were, the FTC came down on them. I almost fell for that shit. So anyway, long story to get to my point. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. So if you're having cold feet right now, then I would say surgery is always going to be there. You may end up end up picking Dr. Rocha, but you may get some of your questions answered that you're unhappy with. But you never want to go there. You never want to go there feeling like you didn't get all of your questions answered.
Because it feels like the sales guy didn't really do Dr. Rocha really a good service, because I asked about the dates, and it was like, everybody's trying to get in before Thanksgiving, and I was thinking stuff like that because the surgery wasn't available with the other doctors until later in the year or November or something. And I was thinking but I got a date open October 7th, or what about the 14th? And I'm just thinking. It gave me the opposite feeling of like you got availability versus
You know what? How can these guys not learn their lesson? This is how it works. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to say, listen, we don't have anything for at least 7 months. We'll put you on a list, and if you're flexible, we'll call you if there's a cancellation. Then the motherfucker can call you in 2 weeks and say, you know what? Lucky day, there's a cancellation. And he still could have gotten you on the 15th, but you would have felt better about it.
That's exactly kind of what happened. I was just thinking like, why did he said it would work if you can get it on October 7th. So then it made me just kind of focus on like, what is the sales part of it, which I never really thought about that at all. I really just because I got to meet the other doctors, but him today talking to him, I was thinking like, yeah, you know, give me a deposit, and but he hasn't sent me anything. I said, am I going to get an email with some documents or no? And then the pre-op thing says stuff about 10 days prior. Well, there's not even 10 days. 10 days really before the surgery.
Dude, you've answered all your own questions. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Look, if I want to get into a doctor's office for a checkup or whatever it is, the sooner the better. But if I'm going to a high-end cosmetic surgeon and they're able to get me in a week, I'd just be like, and again, this has nothing to do with Dr. Rocha. His sales force, whoever, they did him a disservice, in my view. And, you know, they really want, you should really, and also as a patient, they should want you to have as much time as you need to get familiar with the, you know, with the practice, to ask all of your questions, not to just have you sign on a dotted line.
Because I told him, I said I seen Dr. Rocha in July 2018. So I gave him all the pertinent information, but it's like he just signed. He was ready. Let's sign you up. Are you ready? And I'm thinking like, yeah, I think I'm pretty much ready. Because I said I had 2 other consultations, and maybe I don't know. It's almost like let me get you before you make a decision to go with some other guy or whatever.
That's actually interesting. So after you told him you had 2 consultations, he's like, wait a second, it looks like there's an opening in my schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I told him I had 2 consultations and told him the doctors. And that's when it kind of like felt like I left, you know, and called, and I had to go to a doctor's appointment, and then got text message, hey, still waiting on your photos. And it was like, hey, can you FaceTime? So it was kind of like, and you know, and him doing that made me, somehow psychologically made me feel like, ooh, let me hurry up and get, you know, so I can get in, you know, because I won't be able to get out there. It's just, I'm sitting here just feeling like really ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. Don't feel ridiculous because this is common, man. This is human nature. It's a fear of loss. You really want this. You feel happier with your hair back. It's possible to make that happen. You're kind of figuring, what the hell? I've done some research on this guy. But let me tell you, if it doesn't feel right, I followed through on one thing that didn't feel 100% right that worked out in my life. And the only reason I followed through on that was the references that I had were very strongly in favor of this particular situation and this person. I wasn't necessarily in love with this guy's bedside manner, but, you know, it all worked out. But usually, 99.99% of my life, I've gone with my gut. And my gut is telling you, just from your story, that this doesn't sit right with you. And if it doesn't sit right with you, you could always just press the pause button.
Yeah.
The surgery's always going to be there. Dr. Rocha is going to be there. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen because I told him I wanted to have someone come with let me check in with a friend, but maybe I might have to go by myself. We said, well, Monday we'll check. I think I'm just going to pause on this, and
listen. And again, if Dr. Rocha is listening, the guy's known me for a long time. You understand why I'm telling this guy to fucking take a pause because he's unsure. And the last thing I think a doctor wants in his chair is a patient who's not fully committed. That's a bad move on both ends. So, yeah, man. Did you say your name was Whitney? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Whitney.
Yeah.
And my mind's not with it today.
Yeah.
Whitney, I'll tell you this. I'm glad you called the show. I'm glad you've watched Joe. And I'm glad you had the time to get in because I don't think that this would have been a comfortable move for you. Now, things may have worked out, but it could have been a fucked up year. Who knows? Of just anxiety.
Yeah. It would have been much better if I could have talked to Dr. Rocha. I mean, I said 3 years is a long time not to have ever even talked to me. And
yeah, it would have been better. It would have been nice. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. Here's a patient. I'm going to speak to this patient.
I'm about to put I'm about to put a punch and a scalpel into his scalp. I should probably say hi.
Get on the phone, yeah, because he said, do you have time to FaceTime? And I said, oh yeah, but then he just called me. Okay, let's get you in, and put a deposit down. I'm thinking like,
let's get you in.
I just had a guy put on one of those birthing gloves for mayors, and go right at my butt with that thing. Do you think that I was just going to talk to his assistant, even with something like that? I spent an hour talking to this guy.
He said, yeah, call me anytime. Here's my number. You call me at 3 o'clock.
Well, the weird thing about this guy
is like, hey, no offense. I'm happy to talk to you some other time, but I want to talk to Dr. Feelgood.
The interesting thing about this guy is he keeps calling me. I don't know what I did. I'm just kidding. But
sends you flowers,
Yeah. But listen, I'm glad you called the show. Surgery is always going to be there. We're not telling you not to have surgery. I mean, surgery is always a last resort, but you're 52 years old. You're a grown man. You can make a decision. And, there's a good likelihood that you're going to be happy with the result from a really good clinic. But you got to be comfortable, man. And if anything is a red flag, then you just don't do it.
Yeah, I'm shaking and nervous, and my heart's beating fast. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna just
go have a drink.
Maybe give it an opportunity.
Go have a drink
and Roche or not, and leave it alone for a minute.
Yeah, just tell them. Say, listen, you want to press the pause button. You've been thinking about it. You just don't know if you're ready. It seems too soon. That's it.
Yeah. Get me in a week. Hey, get down here on the 7th. That's next week.
Yeah.
Over the 14th. I'm thinking, I want to get in
Monday.
soon, but I didn't. Yeah, the 7th. I think it's a Thursday. But I said no. I said I don't want to. I want to get in soon. But when he said the 7th, I was thinking like, well, there, it's not gonna be that soon.
I need at least a week to prepare for a haircut. Okay, that's what I'm operating with. So
yeah,
it's good.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and a lot of like I said, a lot of just walk away from I already kind of know the right answer, and I know I'm just questioning how I'm feeling. So I'm just validating how I'm feeling, and I'm not feeling so comfortable about it. Instead of being excited, I'm not excited. So.
Yeah, and I and you made that clear, and I sense it. And I hear it in your voice, and I think that's what we're here for, to be a sounding board. And I think you're making a good decision now. And like I said, I'll repeat myself: surgery's there. You may end up with a Rocha, you may end up with Yaker, you may end up with McGrath, whoever you decide to go with. At least give yourself enough time to feel that you've done everything you can to have the best possible outcome.
Okay.
All right, man?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you taking my call.
All right, take care.
You guys have a good one.
Thanks for calling. Good luck.
888-659-3727. Yeah, dude. Didn't even pull the old. Let me. You know what? We're booked up right now, but if something comes up in the next week, I'll call you.
That's hair transplant sales 101.
101.
Never let them know that your schedule is open as a World War II Japanese aircraft carrier. It's like, it's like, no. Like you could have 5 openings the following week, and the guy says, "Well, you got something open anytime soon?" Ooh, I don't know. Make the sound of flipping through the schedule book. Ooh,
maybe like, listen,
can we call you back? Can we put you on the list?
We're currently out 6 months. We're booked 6 months out, but a lot of people, every month we get a couple of guys who have cold feet or have to have to change their plans. And we do get cancellations. So if we get a cancellation, and I would say something like we currently have 4 people on the list for the next cancellation. If we get a cancellation, you'll be on the list, and we'll let you know. And that's it. You call them in a week later. Holy shit, you're not going to believe what happened. The entire town was hit with COVID.
The 4 guys in front of you died.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your lucky day.
They all tested positive. We can't operate on them, so it's your lucky day. How stupid are these people? Let's take a phone call. Not Whitney. I'm talking about the sales guys.
Whitney's pretty sharp, actually.
He made the right decision to call the show. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Kind of.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yeah, you need to. Your volume's low. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. 1 second.
And I hear myself.
All right. How about now?
That is so much better, man. Thank you.
Much better.
Okay. Yeah. I had you guys. I had you guys on a Bluetooth headset, so that's why.
It's always a bad move. So what's up?
Hey. So my name is Jason. Just want to give you guys a little backstory about me. I'm 34. Jesus, I had to think about that. 34 years old. Live in live in New York City, and I've been dealing with hair loss probably for the past since I noticed. It was back in like 2012, so like right when I was finishing college.
Okay.
But so for all these years now, I've always been like casually researching on and off, just because like when I first noticed it, it wasn't terrible, but it was definitely thinning, which was, when you're young and you've had a really strong hairline, it's very concerning. But
really?
It wasn't. Yeah.
What do you think? I've been behind this mic for 24 years. I was so fucked up about it, and I started at 21. So.
Yeah, well, I guess a little more context. My father is bald, and I have an older brother who's 39, and he is completely bald as well. So I kind of had a grim outlook at that point in life, and I was like, dude, if I get to 28, 27, I'm probably going to be completely bald. So I definitely had like, that type of anxiety for sure.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, I'm 34 now, and I've been on minoxidil for the past 6 years now. No, past 5 years. Past 5 years now. And I want to say it's probably helped in terms of maintaining, but like the hair loss process is definitely gradual for sure, because last night I was just taking a dive in memory lane. I was just going back through all my old photos on the cloud, because I've been documenting
Never
it
do
throughout
that,
the
man.
years.
Never do that.
I had to. And this whole time I thought like my hairline didn't really get much worse, but it actually has. So like I'm grateful that I did document when I did, but it was also kind of like a wake up call. Like, dude, you've been kind of putting this off. You got to fucking finally do something about this. Because like you guys, I share the philosophy that surgical procedure should be like the absolute last resort. And that's why I've been on minoxidil. I considered Propecia. I ended up getting a prescription back in the day, but I ended up backing out last minute once I actually like got my prescription filled and picked up the bottle, just because I was like, fuck it, these side effects are simply not worth it. And so I've only been doing minoxidil for the past 5 years now. But like I said, reviewing my photos, it's just progressively getting worse. And the way I wear my hair now currently is, honestly, most people, except for like my few close friends that I tell, no one knows I'm like suffering from hair loss. Because luckily the way I style my hair, I'm able to like comb it forward to like kind of cover the balding spot. And just to let you guys know, I'm only balding in the front area. So like on the Norwood scale, I'd say I'm probably around a 3A or 4A.
Okay.
But the way I'm able to do my hair, it really conceals it.
So what
really
happens
well.
when the wind blows? That was always my fear, because I had the big Donald Trump comb over I still do to some degree, but especially when
Honestly,
when I had a crazy amount of hair when I was younger, it was like, I don't know, I look like some sort of an evangelist.
I mean, as I look at you now, like I got you up on YouTube right now. Your hair looks great. The fact that
thank you, man.
It's as like if you weren't hosting the show and I didn't know about your backstory, I would never have thought that you're suffering from any type.
That's the whole point.
Well,
I'm suffering from a lot of shit. Trust me.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But no, it's very nice of you. I appreciate that. But it's testament to the reality of early intervention, using medication.
Right. Yeah.
early.
And part of me almost feels like I wish I started taking minoxidil a lot earlier. Like my buddy of mine, who we kind of just obsess over like cosmetics and stuff, and he'd been taking it for a really long time. And
Are you obsessed over cosmetics? Explain that.
I'm sorry. Just
I'm not going there.
In terms of self appearance and,
okay.
and how we look.
Aesthetics. Yeah. I was like, you guys are wearing makeup and shit, which is cool. I'm not judging.
Lipstick parties.
Sorry.
Yay.
Yeah. I know Joe likes that shit.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of me almost feels like I started taking it earlier, but it is what it is. I can't change the past. I did start taking it when I did though, so I'm happy I at least took some steps of intervention.
Dude, if I had done what I know I should have done, earlier, I wouldn't even be sitting here. I wouldn't even be here. Like if I knew about Finasteride in the early 90s or mid 90s, I wouldn't even be here. So I totally when you say that, it's like, yeah, it'd be awesome, but here we are. We got to deal with it. You know?
Yeah, there are no do-overs, unfortunately, so we got to make deal with the situation now. But that being said, I've noticed recently that just the way I'm doing my hair to conceal the thinning and all that, it's starting to become more and more difficult. Like how I normally style it would take 10 minutes. Now it will take like maybe 20 minutes to just get it somewhat decent, and I'm just like, man, the coverage is getting less and less.
Are you able to wear concealers at all?
I mean, like I said, it's in the very front. So I have tried out topics, and it just it's not a good look.
Yeah. I know. I know plenty of people. I put some topic or Dermatch, or two times. One, it was topic on the back of my scalp. I went to a dentist office many years ago. I got up. It was like a smiley face on the bolster.
Oh, geez.
And you should have seen the chick's face that was cleaning my teeth.
Oh, my
anyway, I'm just like, look, whatever. I paint my head. What am I going to do? And and I had a hairline. So every once in a while. Actually, this was for Global Hair Loss Summit. I had like 3 hours of sleep. I decided, let me paint my hairline a little bit, and Zarian busted me. He's like, dude, I can see the paint in your hairline. I see a line. I had to clean it up real fast. So yeah, you have to be really careful with that stuff. It's not easy. It's a finesse.
Yeah, because like you were saying about like the wind blowing, like that, all that stuff could just come flying out. And then I've also noticed that like little particles get on your forehead too. So it's also like, there's no point trying to use this. It's just a mess. If anything, you're drawing more attention to yourself because of that.
Well, you can, for sure. I feel like I'm lucky in my position because I can talk about it, openly, like I paint my head. But yeah, I mean, okay, so you've been dealing with this for a long time. You're Norwood 3A, and you're considering going under the knife. You're currently on minoxidil, but minoxidil is kind of like a Band-Aid, especially the topical stuff. There are doctors who are prescribing, many doctors now, oral minoxidil, which could be a little bit longer lasting and effective if you're willing to take that. But, if you don't think that you're really in a position where you've significantly slowed your hair loss, it's a greater chance you're kind of going to be playing catch up with transplants for a while.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's just, and depending on your family pattern, like you're lucky, you say you have no vertex loss, so you may end up just losing the front third. And that could be replaced if you have enough donor, and you may not progress, and that'd be great. If you have good temporal points, I don't know if you do, but, it seems like a lot of guys who go through that type of pattern lose their temporal points as well. What was your situation?
Mine are still there, although on one side, I want to say my left side is kind of fine, but on the right side, it's definitely like recessed a little more. So it's not even. It's a little weird.
That's common. I'm the same way. You'll never know it. I'm not going to show you guys, but yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, exactly. But that being said, so I've been like I said, casually doing my research for like these past like 10 years now. And I remember maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I forget, maybe it was on one of these programs, but I remember seeing Joe commenting about Shapiro Medical Group and how he highly recommended them due to like their amazing results in terms of like frontal hairline work. And so that because of that, that's something that I've really kind of just focused on in terms of that specific clinic. But I guess like one of my questions though is, so like I said, I'm currently in New York City. I was kind of doing my research, but as you guys know, it's kind of like a black hole when you guys are just kind of like researching in the ether, trying to find a doctor, and you don't really have a definitive list to go off of. And so I've been using the one on your site, Joe. But the only thing about that is, ideally for me, for my situation, I would like to find someone or a clinic that's within the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. But I see, like, in terms of your list, there's none of those. Maybe the nearest one for me might be in Florida, I guess. I think I saw one in Florida that you had recommended. But I don't know.
There's still something called the IAHRS.
Spencer's like, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm over here.
You can check out those boys and girls and see if there's anybody in the tri-state area that you're comfortable with.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. I mean, that's why I'm contacting you guys, because you guys have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying that maybe Dr. Nussbaum, Aaron Nussbaum in Florida would be closer for you. I actually think Minnesota's closer than South Florida. Don't quote me on that, but just thinking about how the crow flies. But between New York and Miami, you also have Dr. Cole in Atlanta, who also just so happens to have a new office in New York.
That's right.
Oh, really?
So you might want to, and might want to look into that. A little bit further north is Dr. Jerry Cooley in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is halfway between New York and Miami, give or take. And someone I don't work with, but I think is worth considering, I think is Dr. Scott Bowden in Connecticut. I've seen his work. I've worked with him on some behind-the-scenes projects, helping him with or editing some content for Global Hair Loss Summit last year, and we'll be doing so again this year in December. And I think that he's solid. Like I like his work. He does natural work. It's very natural results, and
conservative as well. Like we were talking about before, he's a conservative guy as well, with really really good natural results and many happy patients.
I'm sorry.
Another one
that's Scott what?
It's a Bowden.
Bowden.
Pardon. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Another one in New York is
just go
IAHRS.
Just go to IAHRS.org. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. But
another one is Dr. Carlos Wesley, who's in New York.
Oh, I forgot about Carlos,
he's good too.
Very good.
Okay. All right. Great. Appreciate these recommendations, because here's the thing for me. If I had to go to Minnesota, it's not a big deal. It's not the worst thing in the world. But ideally, if there was something...
Have you never been to Minnesota?
They don't have any police officers left.
No, never been.
I think you'll probably enjoy Miami more.
It's bad. No, I'm just kidding. I will tell you this. No, Minneapolis is actually a cool place. And I will tell you that they have one of the best steakhouses I've ever been to. That Dr. Ron can tell you about. It's actually not far from the clinic either. It blew my mind how good this place was. I ate there twice.
Oh yeah, what's it called?
I can't remember to save my life, but ask Dr. Ron if you were to go to Minneapolis, just ask Dr. Ron. He'll remember. He recommended it to me.
Okay. So going off of that, actually, if let's say hypothetically I was to go with SMG with this, in terms of the consultation, obviously the distance is going to be an issue. So I'd imagine it'd be over the phone or over video. How would that work precisely, like with a remote consultation? Would I be speaking with
just
Dr.
like anywhere? I mean,
himself?
they set up the consultation. You'll be talking to their representative first. It's Matt Zupan. He's a good guy. He's been doing this for 30 years. Like he's entrenched in this industry. He knows this stuff. He'd probably be the main contact, and then he shows your images. If you send video, he'll show the video to the doc. And if you want to talk to the doc, it's just like with the previous caller, Whitney. If you want to talk to the doctor, then you talk to the doctor. I don't recall if that is a standard part of the process for long-distance patients, but you can make it part of the process simply by insisting on it, or at least asking. Don't insist, but ask for it, and I'm sure they'll set it up for you.
Well, if you say something like, look, I really would feel most comfortable having a consultation. Well, I appreciate all your knowledge and your experience. I'd like to have the opportunity to speak with the doctor online. Guarantee you'll have no problem with that.
Okay. Is it like pretty customary though for most patients to just speak with the consultant, I guess, first?
No,
only the consultant?
Yeah, it's very customary. It depends on the clinic, but I know in Dr. Ron's clinic, that's the way it's been working since I've been in the business.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, question about remote consultations. Are there fees associated with that? Like, would that be the same cost as going for an in-person consultation, essentially?
Depends. Some docs will charge a fee. I see nothing wrong with that if they want to charge a fee. Most do not, though.
Okay, for like a remote consultation.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most do not. Some do. Most do not.
I personally think that they should charge just like they do if you're in their office, because it's still their time and their professional evaluation.
Yeah.
Most clinics are afraid to charge for it because they think it'll turn patients away. I think that if a patient is serious about considering this doctor, then I think it makes sense. So, in this case, I don't think they do. And it's a pretty straightforward process. It just takes time. Talk to Matt. Go through the process, jump through the hoops, talk to him, and take it from there. I think that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was gonna ask. Do you think it might be worth it to actually hop on a plane for a consultation, or is that too many hoops to jump
every
through,
time?
Especially given
every time.
Absolutely worth
it. If you can take the time to hop on a plane. And obviously the investment, which is a pittance compared to the cost of an actual surgery, I think it's the best thing to do, because you get to see the facilities, you get to see how people interact with each other. You get to see so much more. Like you can absorb so much more information that's not verbal, just by being there, and then you're talking to the doctor. And then he's got time, he's got the opportunity to, poke and prod in your head and, draw hairlines and, show you what it looks like and hold up the mirror and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, of course, it's definitely worth it. Anyone listening to this, if you can hop on a plane and go visit the clinic that you're considering, or clinics, because it should be multiple clinics, then by all means, do it. Like this is something that's going to last you for the rest of your life. So why not take the time to do it right?
Right, I totally understand, and I agree with you. But my only, I guess the caveat or the hesitation in regards to that would be, in my opinion, the hypothetical situation playing out is like flying all the way there, getting there, and then having that consultation, and then it being done within 5 minutes. And then it's like, oh shit, why did I spend all that time and money when I could have just done this?
Yeah, that can happen. Here's what I would do if I could speak, Joe. If that's okay.
You may.
All right.
Let the man speak, Joe. Please.
Thank you. What I would do is I would have my online consultations first, and then I would.
Sorry, what was that?
I would have my online consultations first.
Okay.
Get as much time out of them as you need, and when you decide to create your short list, or even if it's just one doc that you're really into, I would then say, look, I had a great consultation. I would like to see the facility and meet you and see if there's an opportunity to meet patients with similar hair characteristics, and set something up where it's like a day. And a good clinic will help you out with that.
Okay. I will say that if you were to hop on a plane, you go all that way, the money, the time invested to sit down with a doctor, and you're in and out in 5 minutes, that's definitely worth it because you just learned a very valuable lesson about the clinic.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
not to
true,
go
too.
there. Like there's no such thing as a wasted trip in the situation because you learn everything you need to learn for better, for worse by going. And if they do shuffle you in and out and apologize, sorry, the doctor's busy, he can't spend much time with you, or he wishes he could spend. It's like not a problem. You just nod your head, acknowledge it.
My man.
File that shit away.
Yeah.
Go home.
Right.
And keep looking. It's just the way it is.
That's a very good point. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it would be disheartening, but at least I'd walk away knowing that that's not the one.
100%. Like that could save you a lifetime of not talking about SMG, but when you go to a clinic and they know that you've hopped on a plane, they know that you've spent this time, and they still treat you like shit. That's the best money you ever spent, buddy, because that's an indicator of how they're going to treat you, potentially, when they're doing surgery on your head, and that could be a consequence that's with you for the rest of your life.
All right,
yes,
man.
Absolutely. No, that's a very valid point.
We're going to take another call. Is there anything else you need from us right now?
You
can always call back.
I don't want to take up. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So no, I guess that wraps it up for me. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Listen, good luck. Let us know what you do, and if
Thanks
you have any more questions, every Friday, call in.
I guess I'll talk to you guys next week then.
All right, cool. Take care.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from Brooklyn.
Morty, how'd you get in?
Hey, what's going on? How did I get in? I have my ways. Joseph, how are you doing?
Doing fine. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, Joseph. I made this call specifically because I needed to apologize to you because I apparently either directly or indirectly, yes, you, because I apparently either directly or indirectly sabotaged that lovely video that you did with the couple from India, the two surgeons from India. God, I can't remember their names right now. Doctor, what's his name now?
That would be Pradeep and Erica.
Yes. I was just going to let him struggle.
Pradeep and Erica.
I can't do that to Morty. I can't do that. I got to help him out.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Spencer.
No, he has a very specific. He asked a very specific question about something that's coming out, and a drug that would induce skin growth and follicular. Not neogenesis, but
the verteporfin. Yeah, verteporfin.
Yeah.
That was part of it. That part I'm not actually apologizing for. I'm apologizing for a top guy who basically kept on insisting on asking you when my hair transplant was going to happen.
Oh.
I felt awful about that.
That was Top Star. Yeah.
Top Star, thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. It's like he kept asking.
I'm sorry, but I was laughing.
I was producing the show for Joe, and I was listening to that. I was like, man, these guys have never heard anything like this. This is going to be great.
They are never going to call. They are never going to be on a live stream with me again.
Top Star is the best, man. He's a funny dude.
Oh no, Top Star was awesome. What are you kidding?
I have to ask you, Joseph. Do you know?
In Goa for a year or something like that.
Do you know when Morty's going to have his hair transplant? Do you have any idea? Can you tell us, Joe? Do you know when he's going to have his hair transplant? That's all it was.
It was great.
No, I don't know.
He's the fucking best, man. I love that guy.
Top Star, man. That's right. He was the guy who was trapped in Goa for like a year or something like that. Like he was homeless and all this stuff. Was that the same dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was homeless when he got back to the UK for a short period of time.
Yeah, don't call him homeless, though.
Yeah, but
he was in a tent.
Yeah. He had a home.
Okay. All right. Well, Top Star, if you're listening, I haven't gotten it done yet. I promise that I will call the show when it happens. So sit tight and relax.
What I don't understand is why isn't John Cole going to be streaming this live?
Well, I don't know. After what happened to Arocha, maybe that's really what he's going to do it.
Well, I'm assuming he's going to offer you anesthetic.
Well, I damn well better. Fucking hell, man. Give me a general, baby. Put me out.
Jesus. I figured
man.
Nick would be calling, like, how do we do this live thing? Can you help us do this live thing? Because Morty's going to do live hair transplant. And we could have had everyone call in while you're getting your head cut open.
Look, there's Morty's melon.
Yeah, I used to do that years ago. When this was all black magic, before anyone could stream, I used to do live surgeries, and it was literally like black magic. People were able to call in. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It may stress John out, though.
I was going to say, I really don't think John needs to be distracted. I think he's got a job to do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. He'll laser focus. He'll just ignore us.
Yeah, exactly. We'll sound like golf tournament commentators. He's making incisions now. He's using, what do you think, Spencer, about a 4mm incision? It looks about like a 4mm, yeah.
It looks like a Gleason 4.
I think Morty has long follicles.
Look at the size of that follicular bundle.
Yeah. Oh, wait, he's changing instruments, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to place.
There you go.
And here comes his assistant.
And
working on the right front.
And it's a hole-in-one, no popping for that one.
Yeah.
No popping for Morty's graphs.
Oh, that's hilarious. Nice. That is just the... Oh, my goodness. Nah, so anyway, just calling you to shoot the breeze and to tell you that everything's okay.
Good.
I don't know if I told you this last week. My mom tested positive for COVID.
And I know that. She's doing okay.
She is, yeah. I mean, she had her, whatchamacallit, she had her antibody treatment done on Saturday.
Monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
She seems to be okay. Just coming from there now. She's a little more forgetful than usual, which is what it is. And yeah, now I'm headed home.
How old is your mother? How old is your mother, Morty?
She is 84.
84.
Going to be 85 in December.
Okay.
God bless her.
God bless her.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get that old.
You know something, Spencer? I have to agree with you.
Like, if I can get a good, strong, like, healthy, non-painful 20 years, I would sign something and be like, all right. Like, just a good 20 years. I'd be happy with that.
But yeah. Well,
you heard it here, everyone.
Basically.
No, like, being able to enjoy food and sex and just normal living and, and
your faculties.
My faculties, which I'm losing right now, athletics, shit like that. And, you're 76, that's stretching it. Like, if you're still shooting hoops at 76, you're totally padded up, man. Every, from your ankle to your wrist. You're wearing a mouth guard.
Boy.
You're wearing a mouth guard to cover your veneers and shit. I tell you something. These whatchamacallit, the PRP injections in the knees, they definitely help. Because I had these knees done in June, and they're fine. Like,
really?
They're nice.
That's good.
Yeah. So I went to Dr. Greco. He hooked me up, man.
Did you do the PRP in the dick thing that he does?
No. My junk is just fine, Spencer.
Good. I'm just curious.
Dr. Cole showed you.
I'm curious. Joe, he keeps wanting to get me in the chair for some reason.
No. Well, again, like I said, when he did the fat extraction, he roped me off from the chest down. So I don't know what the hell he was doing down there. I could have been taking pictures. Who the fuck knows? So he didn't numb me down there, at least as far as I could tell. So just inside the gut.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news. I think you were John's first liposuction patient, so it worked out. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I have no idea.
First and second, then.
First and second. Oh, you had it done twice.
First and second, right? Yeah. Don't you remember I had it done in November last year?
So he goes. So he goes. So you had the
Yeah.
PRPs in these
yeah.
with the fat cells.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. So he
Yeah,
goes
the
in
first
with
one
like a
is-
small cannula. Is it suction cannula or is it like a needle cannula?
Well, and it's either or. A cannula is basically a long tube with a hole in it that is dull, and a needle is a long tube with a hole in it that is sharp. So a cannula, by definition, is dull. So
Well,
what
thank
they
you,
do-
Morty. Thank you for that educational tidbit.
Tune in next week
I'm
when
a
Morty
nerd.
gives
What do
us
you want from my life?
the definition of the day.
Yeah, exactly. But no, what they do is they numb you up where it is they're going to stick the cannula in. They take a scalpel and they make a small incision wide enough for the cannula to fit. Then they stick that bad boy in there. They fill you up with a saline and an anesthetic solution. They let that cook for a while, and then they draw it all out along with the fat.
And did you notice any improvement in your waistline? I think I asked you this.
Actually, a little, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You
I
should-
mean, nothing to write home about, but yeah.
You
yeah,
should tell him
it's,
to etch in some abs the next time.
I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. I can tell you this: there has been some growth up there. I mean, it's not as quickly as Afghanistan fell, but it's growing.
That's so sad. It's not even funny, but it is funny, I guess.
I guess I was thinking about it. I was like, how can I work this into the freaking comment? But anyway, yeah. So there's been a little bit of growth in the mid scalp and up top. People have actually said some things. I think I may have said that last week. But again, you have to remember these things. They're not going to work miracles for you. But I would say that for somebody who is who's just got maybe some thinning, it's definitely worth a try. I think.
Well,
I would do it again.
Well, that's what John's getting. He's really getting big into that, and I know that he's focusing a lot on his New York office, really trying to get people interested in doing that there. And it's cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's
If it
option,
works, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's another option. I would say, because I've had PRP done, just standalone PRP before with Dr. Greco.
Yeah.
This stuff seems to be a little bit more effective. But again, I mean, I was starting from zero, so it's kind of a difficult case to really point to. But I mean, it's like you're trying to.
But you're also the ideal
work from the
case to
stone.
see if there's any sort of positive reaction to begin with, because starting from zero, it's
for
like
Micah.
Yeah, for Micah, it's like any change at all, you'll see it a mile away, right?
Oh yeah.
So
and,
that's actually
and
a good
that's
thing.
what I've been told.
All right.
No,
so
absolutely.
so
And-
when's the surgery? Did you finally book or no?
Things are still up in the air. I'm playing it cool. I'm not pushing things. I want this to be, as easy as possible for all concerned.
Now, do you know the
We're
text?
past the holidays now, so
do you know the staff? Have you?
Of course.
I know you already weaseled your way into this guy's life. So do you know the staff?
Yeah, I know Debbie and Lena, I think her name is. Yeah, I know. Well, I was down there when I did the first one. It was down there.
Okay.
In November last year, so I met them all. They're nice.
Yeah.
They're the nice peoples,
Oh,
and I called them. I haven't called them this week though. But like I said, I'm easy with this. I'm not. I'm in no rush. I haven't had hair for almost 30 years at this point. So what's another couple of days or a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
And you know what's fucked up? Morty's probably gonna have the best hair transplant around.
Well, I mean, for your listeners, that's the attitude that you have to take. It's like, look, whatever is happening to you is nature. It's gonna take its course, whether you get a hair transplant or not. And the best thing you need to do for yourself is, be comfortable with the skin you're in, because you're going to be living in it for the rest of your life. And while you may be able to move a few hairs around, you're still going to be you. So, yeah. That
is well said, Morty.
Healthy. That's healthy speak right there. Healthy talk. Good on you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude. Well, listen, I'm glad your mother's doing well.
Yeah.
Did you get tested?
Sorry?
Did you get tested?
I have been testing myself like a freaking mad person. I mean, I've stuck more Q-tips up my nose than is normal.
So you're doing home testing?
Well, I did. So basically, what happened to us is on Saturday. And by the way, anyone who lives in New York City, if God forbid that you should test positive and you want to get antibody treatment, here's what you do. You go to the South Florida website, you book an appointment in South Florida, you get on a fucking plane, you go over there, you get your shit, you get back on a plane, you get home. That is faster than trying to get it done here in the city.
Really?
Just for anyone who's listening. And quite frankly, you're less likely to be turned away there than you are here.
You know, they're trying to intercede in Florida, which is insane. You know, DeSantis had all this shit set up. It was running like clockwork, and now the federal government's trying to intercede. Why?
Well, because they think that by having a treatment that you can give somebody after getting sick somehow precludes people from making the decision to get a vaccine.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's ridiculous.
That was a rhetorical question, but thank you for the answer. And yes, that's exactly the reality.
Look, the people I know who are not getting a vaccine, they aren't getting a vaccine, no matter what the fuck you do.
Right.
And I would tell you this much: those same people wouldn't take the antibodies either, because they don't want people sticking anything into their veins. So
I know a lot of people who would not take the vaccine, but are already prepared with all of their drugs and access to antibodies and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are some people like that too, of course. But look, I had a phone call with a friend of mine just earlier today, because the Merck pill just came out, and they're like, oh, this is another bunch of nonsense. I'm like, why are you saying that? This is a good thing. This is another option. See, that's the thing that I love about you guys, is that you guys are all about the options.
Right.
You're all about prioritizing your options for dealing with hair loss. And I am all about prioritizing my options for life. So I can take a vaccine, I cannot take a vaccine. I could take antibodies or not take antibodies. Look, here's a pill. I could take the pill, I cannot take the pill.
Look, the vaccine is basically, it's like a piece of software that you're putting on your hardware, and you're hoping that, this software is going to, react well with the spike, create those spike proteins to react well with this particular virus. It's been proven that it's not, an actual vaccine, but it's more like, I guess it would be like, almost like gene therapy.
It depends on what it depends on what it's not really. mRNA is still a vaccine in the sense that you're causing your cells to react to something that's foreign. In that respect, it's pretty much what it is. From my perspective, like I said, is that there are people out. Look, when it used to be that. They fought to have this law where if you rode a motorcycle, you had to wear a helmet, right? And then there were all of these guys that fought to ride their motorcycles without a helmet. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. If you don't want to ride a motorcycle with a helmet, you fall down and you land on your head and you crack your skull open. And by the way, you kill a bunch of people because you caused a traffic accident. Well,
yeah. Look, I'm all for it. I believe in the whole theory, the seatbelt theory too. You put your seatbelt on. You don't think you can get into an accident, but if you do, you have your seatbelt on. That's a great thing. I think the vaccine is a really, Trump pushed this through, and it saved thousands upon thousands of lives. And it gave us
but you can't build a policy that counts on everybody being compliant, because it's nonsense.
Yeah, but the problem is, even if everyone was compliant, there's no control. That's what I never understood about 100% compliancy. You want a subset, you want a control group to see what the fuck is going on to those who are not getting vaccinated. And those who are vaccinated shouldn't be worried about the unvaccinated, because they're supposedly protected. And the only people that should really be worried
shows that there's weak. I mean, the fact that my mother was vaccinated and she ended up getting sick.
Yeah, but the fact, and that's true, and that's what worries people who are not vaccinated, because they're the ones who should be worried, because the vaccinated are the ones who are really passing the virus, because they feel that that they can't, or they've been told in the past that they can't pass it. That's changing now. You know what I think is best? You want to go to a restaurant, whatever it is, I think they should be concentrating on the really quick testing. Everyone should, you walk in, you do some sort of a saliva test or whatever it is, boom, You're good, great. You can go in.
Well, the at-home test is pretty quick. I mean, because I like I said, my sister got me a box. So the thing. I had a test on Saturday when I took my mom in for the antibodies. And after that, they offered me antibodies. I was like, nah, let me see if I'm positive first, because I don't want to take it away from somebody who actually needs it. So that was negative. Then my sister bought me one of these take-home kits. I did. The box came with 2 kits. The box came with 2 kits in it. I took one on Wednesday. It was negative. Then I took a PCR test yesterday. It came back. Was it? Yeah. That's right. I took it Wednesday. It came back Thursday. No. I'm sorry. I took it Thursday. It came back today in the morning, and it was negative. And then I had one more. Test at home, and I just took it just before I left the house, because I'm planning on going to see my favorite band in the whole world tonight, and I wanted to make sure I didn't.
REO Speedwagon in town?
And it came back. No, it's a local band. God. Really, Spencer, REO Speedwagon? Is that what you think I listen to? No, I'm kidding.
Dude, 1982, I loved REO Speedwagon.
Yeah. I just listened to it because the girls digged it, so, you know.
Yeah.
But,
well, Morty, we could talk about this all night.
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
I want to make room for other callers. It's true.
But here's the thing that I believe is fucked up. I don't feel comfortable sitting at a table with a bunch of vaccinated people with their masks off, thinking that they can't possibly spread this virus.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not true.
It makes no sense to me.
They most certainly can.
That's why it makes no sense to me. I think they should create testing protocols so that everyone feels safe, whether you're vaccinated or not.
And like I said, the at-home test that I took, basically it takes about 20 minutes to do. You pop it open, you wipe your nose, you stick it in the little thing, you let it sit for 10 minutes, you pull it out, bam.
I belong to like a concierge medicine service where I can get as many antibody tests and PCR tests and monoclonal antibodies, whatever, if God forbid I need it. I set that up, and because I don't want to deal with all the other bullshit. That's why you earn a living, for emergencies, not for fancy cars, Joe.
What's wrong with fancy cars?
Goodness gracious.
All right,
I don't know, Joe. You don't drive that fancy a car. All right, listen, guys. Thank you again for listening to my bullshit.
I don't want to.
All right, man. Take care, buddy.
And I guess I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Later.
Thanks for the call. Bye-bye.
Right on. Bye-bye.
All right, no more calls. Joe's got to eat.
That is it.
Guys.
Gotta eat.
Guys, the websites. Check out the Bald Truth UK on ape2gentleman.com. Had a really great segment that was posted today. The mother of a 16-year-old kid the kid is obviously, really struggling with his hair loss. And this woman was just not only really articulate and kind, like this is the type of mother any kid, but any balding kid would love to have. It wasn't like she was being overly intrusive or interfering. She seemed to have a really good relationship with her kid, and she just wanted to help him without, some of the other calls we've gotten over the years. Parents just want to buy, throw money at this thing and buy their kid a surgery, whatever it is. She really did her due diligence and is just dealing, with the psychological ramifications. And it's a good call. We made it into an entire podcast. So check it out, ape2gentleman.com. Joe Tillman's website, hairtransplantmentor.com. Everything Joe Tillman, hairtransplantmentor.com. His YouTube channel is the Hair Transplant Channel, which you could watch this program on live and call in. He has a nice little chat happening on his channel. That's youtube.com.
Nice little chat.
Nice little chat. youtube.com / Hair Transplant Mentor. Somebody else asked me today, as a matter of fact, guy who is a real podcaster, he's like, why don't you have your own YouTube channel? I said, we got a channel, but I just don't use it. And he's like, it would be unbelievable if you did it. And I'm like, why? I don't want to be committed to that.
I don't need that kind of pressure, man.
Yeah, Joe's got a nice channel happening. He's got a lot of followers. We work together. I'll throw it up on Joe's page. And whoever is lucky enough to find the show will probably have a better life.
We'll be better off for it, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's not going to happen. American Hair Loss Association is AmericanHairLoss.org, the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, IAHRS.org. If you're considering surgical hair restoration, safe place to do your due diligence and do your homework and start your search. BaldTruthTalk.com. I want to get rid of that thing. But it's a forum. Check it out. It's pretty heavily moderated, except the level of spam is insane. We got to take care of that. But a lot of people are reading it. Very well trafficked. So you're not going to read a lot of bullshit on there. Or at least you're not going to be guided in the shitty direction for the most part. How's that for selling it, Joe?
I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And thebaldtruth.com. Check it out. Oh, guys, follow me. Excuse me. Follow me on Instagram at Spencer Kobren. And follow Joe on Instagram as well. I don't know his handle.
At Real Joe. Shit. Is it Real Joe? I keep forgetting. Hold on. I'll tell you right now. It is Joe Tillman Official. That's right.
See, only old men have shit like that.
I know.
Just got to make it easy. At your name. So it's at Spencer Kobren. Guys, follow me. Do me a favor. Anyway, until next time. Joe, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, you pretty much took the whole thing. So it's like, all right. Yeah. Check out his websites. Check out my websites. Check out YouTube. Check out Specs.
Oh, and
Bald Truth UK.
We start promoting Global Hair Loss Summit next week. We are seriously considering having a consumer-facing aspect to it, but that will be on demand, probably not for the live stuff. But we will let you know. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
God damn, boy, what's that, some kind of weave or something?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.